Well, we have another great conversation with New Insights LLC, actually specifically Jacqueline. And Jacqueline, we are in a month where we're trying to not only bring awareness to therapy and what therapy can do, but specifically talking about suicide awareness. And the average for Berrien County is 22 suicides per year. And that number obviously is incredibly high and too high. But this is something where we want to break that stigma of people talking about it, because it is a discussion that needs to happen, as this is something that is very real and we can't just cover our eyes and act like it's not there, right? So with our conversation here today, I want to know a little bit more about yourself, your profession, and why you feel like it is super important for us to discuss suicide awareness and what that means to you.
Yeah, talking to people is really the best way to connect. It's about connection. A lot of times people who attempt or even complete suicide are feeling alone, trapped, helpless, powerless in their lives, and feel like that's kind of the only way out. That's not the only reason that these choices get made, but it's plenty of the reasons. And so just talking about it brings awareness, lets people know there's options, there's things that they can do if they're thinking about it, feeling about it, planning for it. So having these conversations really lets people know that there are other options.
Yeah, and making sure that people know that people care, and that's, it seems like such a simplistic way to say that, but when you're in that mindset and you're in that position, a lot of times the question is like, okay, who's really going to care? There are so many people out there, and having that opportunity to just talk it out and have a conversation with somebody will definitely, have that realization and bring that to light. So talking about this discussion, I also want to look at it from another side, because we're talking about therapy, we're talking about helping people, and you know what, maybe you're watching this and you're saying, okay, I'm not in this position myself, this is good information, but it's not me. Okay, maybe it isn't you, but there are other people in your life that it may be, and we need to have those other people who are champions to say, hey, are you thinking about killing yourself? Are you in this mindset? And speak to that a little bit, maybe from that perspective, and what we can do as friends to feel empowered to have this conversation.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's good to know the signs of stroke. It's good to know the signs of heart attack. It's good to know the signs of somebody thinking about suicide, because when you need it, that's not the time to learn it. So, and then just being comfortable. If you're thinking about, ending your life, if you're worried that someone else is, both people, we want to encourage everyone to have that conversation with each other, and to not let that be a stigmatic conversation. You'd be surprised how many more people have had those thoughts at some point in their life than haven't. And so it really is a subject that we can have empathy with each other over. When we talk about therapy, therapy is a thing that can help people figure out how to get unstuck, how to find purpose, how to find power, how to make the changes in their life that they're feeling like they just can't make on their own. And it's one of those things where people tend to feel very, very alone in those moments, even when they're completely connected or actually in a room full of people. It's a state of aloneness. And so having someone even care enough to just ask how you're doing and how you're feeling can make all the difference. So many times I've heard stories in lots of different settings, actually, where people will tell me that the phone rang, and that's what saved their life, is just that the phone rang and it was a familiar voice on the other side. And a lot of times they tell me that person had no clue and still doesn't know that they saved their life that day, because they connected. Even just connecting makes such a difference.
There's a country song that is, and not to transition here, but it's called "The Call," and it's exactly about that. Is, in a world where there's so much bad stuff, it's so easy to be brought down and dragged down by things. You never know what somebody's going through. You never know the state of mind that they're in. We need to be kind to one another. We need to be caring to one another. And that seems very simple, but again, making sure that we're connected and making sure that we let everybody know that special in your life, hey, I care about you. And something like that, as simple as that, and making that phone call makes all the difference.
Yeah.
So,
people don't fake being depressed. People don't fake being hurt. They actually fake being okay.
That is very true.
So even in those moments, we need to make sure that we're connecting anyway. And a lot of times sometimes we worry that we're going to be a burden if we're the one reaching out to connect with someone else, but it's a gift. If you think about when somebody tries to connect with you, how do you feel? It's a gift. It feels so just warm and so thought of and so loved. Even just to send a text message that says, hey, haven't heard from you in a while, wanted to let you know I was thinking of you, can make a huge difference.
It's also interesting to point out the fact too that it's not something that anybody who's had suicidal thoughts will not only complete suicide, but also they're not necessarily technically clinically depressed either.
Right.
There could be a traumatic event, something that happens, and I know of one specific instance here recently where a traumatic event led to a suicide completion, and it's terrifying. But what would you say would be maybe the first step or first course of action for somebody who maybe is having that thought, saying, okay, be a better place without me, or whatever is going through their mind?
Yeah. So, even a lot of times people will have the thought without having any intent at all. When that's the case, that's a call to talk to a professional. That's a call to talk to a therapist. If they are having a thought with intent and thinking, I think I'm going to do this, but before I make that really permanent decision, I need to talk with someone. That's the time where we want to get emergency situation, emergency services involved. So you can call 911. You can call, go to the emergency room. These thoughts are emergencies. And so the emergency rooms are prepared to help folks who are feeling this way. There are psychiatric hospitals actually, where you can go in and talk to someone in that moment. And, there's the community mental health centers as well. And so those places are designed to immediately have a conversation with a person and help them figure out, what do we do next to help you not have to feel this way anymore.
It's a sad thing to think about. You mentioned the permanent decision. It is a permanent decision, and that's why we absolutely have to not only take it serious, because I don't think that there's anybody who doesn't take it serious, but being serious about awareness in ourselves and in other people, but also taking it serious in making sure that we're doing what we can to take the appropriate steps forward and take the help that's available to us. And what's interesting, so you, with New Insights, Jacqueline, you are located in Berrien Springs, right? No,
I'm physically located in Berrien Springs, but our service is 100% online.
Which is a great thing to know. So with this, you can be in Coloma, you can be in Bridgman, New Buffalo, you could probably be in Spain somewhere.
All in the same day.
Exactly. And you can still have this support available to you. So let's kind of share, if somebody wants to go through with talking to you and working, maybe they've had this vulnerability for themselves and they say, I need this help. How do we do that with you?
So they can call or text or even go online and schedule initial consult. It'll be about 15 minutes. We don't charge for that. And I will talk with you at the scheduled time to decide together if what New Insights is offering is going to be able to be a good fit for that person. From there, if we decide together that it's going to be a good fit and we feel like we can meet your needs, you'll get scheduled with either myself or one of our amazing therapists, and you'll do a full intake. Usually it's about 45 to 60 minutes of just being able to tell your story and talk about where you've been, why you're feeling this way, and what you're wanting to do moving forward. From that point, it becomes a really individualized experience as to, how to get those needs met and where to go moving forward. Usually it's about weekly sessions for a little while. And then sometimes people feel like they have met their goal. They're feeling different. They're thinking different. And so then they're done with therapy. Sometimes people like to hang on to that connection. And so they'll move out to every other week or even monthly connections before they discharge from therapy.
All good information. And especially when, again, something like this comes into mind, we want to be aware. And I love that there's a resource like New Insights and you, Jacqueline, to be available to help us through. So thank you for what you do. And I hope that this conversation helps to open that door to breaking that stigma and, getting people on the right path. I hope that this helps save lives. Ultimately, that's what this conversation is doing. So awesome. Well, Jacqueline, we look forward to chatting with you here very soon, and we'll continue the conversations regarding different avenues of therapy. All right.
Thank you so much, Matt.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.